Today's video is about how to make gesso and prepare a canvas ready for painting. I like to use an old jam jar. It just means that I can give it a good shake, and also the gesso will keep for a couple of days if you make it in there. I also need PVA glue, some acrylic paint, some masking tape, talcum powder. I use a 1-inch brush, which is suitable for putting the gesso onto the canvas. I also use some burnt umber paint to give the canvas a warm texture. When painting, it just warms it up a bit. You can use a lighter colour, you can use blue if you want it to be a cold painting. So the first thing I do is I measure some water. We need 1/4 cup of water. Sorry, I disappeared for a minute. I had to go and get the water. 1/4 cup of water, and then 1/8 cup of glue. I take the top off this glue. That might be helpful. That's better. Now I can actually show you the glue. It's 1/8 cup of glue. Takes a little while for it to drip through, but that's fine. And I've got a teaspoon here, which I can use, or a bigger spoon that I can use just to scrape it out, to speed things up a little bit. Right, I put the lid on, give that a good old shake, and then I add acrylic paint. We need a tablespoon full of acrylic paint. If you haven't got a tablespoon, teaspoons are just the same to use. They are 3 teaspoons to 1 tablespoon. So in goes the acrylic paint. 1. 2. You might notice that I just let it pile up. It isn't desperate that it's exactly right. 3 teaspoons of acrylic paint. I'll swish around. Use my teaspoon of it. And then again, put the lid back on and give it a good shake. Next thing we put in is the talcum powder. I put this in gradually to get the right texture. I'll put in a little bit of talcum powder, give it a shake and see what the texture looks like, and then add more if I feel it's needed. We want a sort of a thin batter consistency, not quite in thick enough for me. I'll put a little bit more talcum powder. Couple more squirts. Any talcum powder will do. This is sounding thicker. I don't know whether you can hear that on the video, but it sounds thicker now. Right, let's have a look at that one. Yeah, that's much better. Some people use a mixer. If you've got a hand mixer, you give it a good old stir. I'm just going to get a fork and I'm going to give it a bit more of a whisk to make sure it's really, really smooth. Just in case there are any lumps left in it. There we go. Ready to use. Right, to put the gesso onto your canvas, the best thing to do is to go from left to right and back again. covering the canvas evenly. Turn the camera just slightly, so just in case you can't see the canvas. Just making sure the ends were covered there by going up and down. But you don't necessarily need to do that, because the next coat, it's best to give 2 coats. Just to ensure I don't know where that little black mark came from. Just be careful of things like that and make sure we take them off. There we go. First coat of gesso onto the canvas. You may like to make the gesso a little bit thicker. It's a bit of a trial and error and see what is best for you. And that's the first coat. I'm not going to let this dry at the moment because obviously it takes time, but I'll just show you when you're putting the second coat on, it's a good idea to go up and down, up with the second coat rather than across. This seals the canvas, stops the paint from getting into the canvas. It also helps to make the colours a little bit more vibrant when you're painting. That's that one. Right, I'm just going to show you a couple of other ideas for your canvas. Sometimes I like to tape around the edges of my canvas, just so that I get a nice clean edge. For this I use a masking tape. It can be any width really, but I like to use this 1 centimetre. And to do this, we place it as near to the edge as we can and smooth it down all the way around. This just makes it so that your canvas edges stay white if you're painting over them. Some people will just paint over the sides when they put on their base coat, which is equally as good, but I sometimes like to do it this way. Another thing I do is I will put a base coat on. And for this I mix a little bit of white, I use a cheaper white acrylic for this. It's just, otherwise it gets a bit expensive using a lot of different paints, and a bit of burnt umber. Give it a good mix just to get a nice shade there, and then just cover your canvas with that to start off your painting. Like I said earlier, this just makes your painting a little bit warmer. And obviously, because we're using acrylics, it means that turn it around and do the other side. Once this is dry, going back to using acrylics, the acrylic covers any colour really, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's darker or lighter, again, because the acrylic, when you're painting your picture, will cover all of that. That's my video today for preparing your canvas. I hope it's been useful, and I hope you enjoy your painting when you get round to it. I'm new to painting myself, so for me this is quite a challenge to do a video, but I hope it's been okay. Take care, enjoy your painting.